Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Bud Light. Bud Light is losing shelf space. They're dramatically losing space as their sales are reduced and they continue to collapse. Bump Williams gave a great report this week because Modelo Especial, as promised, beat Bud Light for the #1 beer sales for 2023. This is the first time this has happened in more than 20 years. Of course, all related to ridiculous trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney and Alyssa Heinersheet's absolutely ridiculous doomed promotion to try to promote Bud Light as some kind of youth-oriented beer very different from what anyone expected or anyone obviously would ever want. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. I'm trying to get to 30,000 subscribers, so if you can't subscribe, please do subscribe. Okay, just out today, coming from the New York Post, Modelo Especial widens sales gap over Bud Light in wake of Dylan Mulvaney fiasco. So it's gotten worse for them in just the space of 1 week over at Bud Light. Not enough to lose the #1 spot for the week, not enough to lose the #1 spot for the month, not enough to lose the #1 spot for 2023. They've now had it even worse from week to week. They've lost more ground. Modelo Especial, the nation's new king of beers, continued to outsell Bud Light after its disastrous tie-up with trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney, according to the latest sales data. The Mexican beer widened its lead in year-to-date sales over Bud Light, accounting for 8.4% of beer sales in stores. That's off-premise sales because you're not going to drink the beer in the store, at least you're not supposed to, through August 19th, compared to Bud Light's 8.2% share of sales, according to Bump Williams Consulting. He reported this just today, and this is from Bump Williams. More consumers are buying Modelo more frequently and in greater quantities before the summer ends. As we get to the end of the summer season, Modelo takes over more and more and more of the market, as Bud Light continues to lose more and more and more of the market. Retailers have been devoting more shelf space to Modelo Especial to cash in on its surge in popularity, according to Bump Williams. And if you're a store, why wouldn't you do that? If you're going to put something on your shelf, give it shelf space, you pay rent, you have expenses so that you're in business to try to sell things. If people are buying Modelo Especial, especially because people are coming in obviously looking for it, why would you stock Bud Light or any other Anheuser-Busch products? Last week, Modelo surpassed Bud Light in year-to-date sales to end the Anheuser-Busch brand's 2-decade reign as the top-selling beer in the U.S. Modelo had an 8.34% share of the market compared to Bud Light's 8.28% through August 12th, according to a Nielsen IQ report. The Mexican beer, which is distributed in the U.S. by Constellation Brands, a competitor to Anheuser-Busch, has consistently beaten Bud Light in monthly sales since May, after unprecedented outrage over the company tapping Dylan Mulvaney on April 1st to promote the brand and ultimately destroy the brand. A national boycott of Bud Light has shown no signs of abating. On a weekly basis, sales of Bud Light declined by 26.8% through August 19th, while sales of Modelo Especial over the same period grew by 15.9%. Other non-Anheuser-Busch related brands are also stealing market share, including Miller Lite, which saw an 18.5% growth in sales, Coors Light with a 21.6% growth, and Yuengling Lager with a 19.7% increase for the week ended August 19th, according to the data. Meanwhile, Budweiser sales have been hurt by the controversy as well, declining 10.3% over the same period. Michelob Ultra, another Anheuser-Busch brand, actually saw some improvement. Hey, not everybody knows it's owned by Anheuser-Busch. That's why they're going to buy it as an alternative. But for the most part, people do know. It did have an increase of 0.4%, nothing near what Modelo increased, way below where Modelo Especial is. Earlier this month, Anheuser-Busch InBev, the Belgian-based parent of the brewery, reported a 10.5% drop in revenue and nearly 30% decrease in profit in the second quarter, according to the company. That drop in revenue was primarily in the U.S. market, where it lost $390 million in sales in just the course of 3 months. That didn't include the cost of all the rebates they had to do, all the payments to distributors, all the expired beer they had to buy back, all the extra promotion they tried to do to push Bud Light. Can you imagine? They said they were tripling their advertising budget, even tripling their advertising budget. Their sales are off at least 30% by volume nationally. Completely destroyed. And beer distributors are freaking out. We just did a video about that the other day. A beer distributor who's insisting that people rethink their attitudes and rethink their ideas and change their opinions and go back and buy Anheuser-Busch products. Why they can't just sell other beer, I don't know. But I don't think a lot of people appreciated that, and I don't think they should have put a letter out saying they wanted that. Because from the comments on my video, people are not going to go change their opinions just so a beer distributor can make money selling a terrible product. But of course, failing at the stores is not good enough for Anheuser-Busch, not important enough for Bud Light. They need to lose all of their major promotions. Here's an example. Kyle Field Beer Partnership moves from Anheuser-Busch to Molson Coors. Multi-year beer partnership begins in 2023. 7 years ago, Texas A&M announced a partnership with Anheuser-Busch to be the beer sponsor for premium areas at Kyle Field and Olsen Field at Bluebell Park. 3 years later, beer and wine sales were extended to non-premium space in Kyle Field for the first time. But today, the athletic department announced a new partnership this time with Molson Coors. The most visible part of this change will be the beverage availability at A&M athletic events. According to the press release, Coors Light and Twisted Tea will both be visible parts of the game day experience at all Texas A&M athletic facilities, including Kyle Field, Reed Arena, and Olsen Field at Bluebell Park. This also likely signals the end of the 12th Man Lager made by Carback Brewing Company, owned by Anheuser-Busch. But the good news is that a new A&M branded craft beer appears to be in the works, this time by Revolver Brewing Company in Granbury. Quote, Molson Coors, along with Revolver Brewing Company, will also develop a new A&M branded beer that will debut during the fall of 2023. More information about the product launch and availability will be announced at a later date. All of these products will be distributed by Kristen Distributing Company in Bryan, Texas, providing a local distribution partner for all Texas A&M domestic, malt, craft, and import beer products, including Dos Equis, which will continue its strong presence within Aggie athletics events. It's not just losing space in convenience stores. It's not just losing space grocery stores, on-premise sales, off-premise sales, losing taps. Now they're losing these major co-sponsorship deals, which really is something that they want for the brand to be associated with fun times like football and sports, to have those close relationships with these venues and the people that frequent the venues. That's all blown now. That's not going to happen anymore. And speaking of craziness, from the Daily Mail, Dylan Mulvaney calls out the extreme amount of transphobia and hate as Dylan wins the Breakout Creator at the 2023 Streamy Awards. You would have to wonder, why would someone go and promote Dylan Mulvaney? Dylan Mulvaney has not done any good for Bud Light. Dylan Mulvaney has complained about being involved with Anheuser-Busch. But why not give Dylan an award? Transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney used a celebratory speech at the 2023 Streamy Awards as a chance to call out transphobia before pledging to toast the win with a beer. Mulvaney spent most of the first half of the year embroiled in controversy over the Bud Light partnership, won the gong for Breakthrough Creator at Sunday night's awards ceremony, which is considered the foremost recognition within the creator community. The trans influencer, dressed in a red satin mini dress and matching sparkly kitten heels. I mean, okay, so that's Dylan Mulvaney. That's what Dylan Mulvaney is up to doing after destroying more than 1,000 jobs between glass plants and layoffs at Anheuser-Busch, which we know is going to probably multiply to 2,000 or 3,000 jobs lost, all because Dylan Mulvaney needed this much attention, got involved with this promotion, didn't do anything to help try to resolve the situation, didn't apologize to Anheuser-Busch's customers. Dylan Mulvaney is in a position to be able to send out massive messages through Instagram, TikTok to millions of followers. Does not need Anheuser-Busch's permission whatsoever. Could just say, hey, look, I hope I didn't disappoint anyone. I hope you give Bud Light another chance. It really was just one promotion. As much as Anheuser-Busch could apologize, Dylan Mulvaney could also apologize. But Dylan Mulvaney could care less about what happens to the thousands of people that are losing their jobs over this. I mean, when you think about the math, literally thousands of people losing their jobs who support families, pay bills, contribute to the community, destroyed over narcissism and complete and total nonsense. The one good thing is that Anheuser-Busch is being forced to take responsibility for what they did, even though they didn't apologize. They're losing sales. they're losing market share. They're losing shelf space. They're losing distributors. I can guarantee you that, because distributors can't focus on selling their products if their products aren't selling. It's off 30% nationally, but in some markets, it's up to off 90%. They've lost billions in stock market value. They've lost hundreds of millions of dollars of sales, and they absolutely deserve it. And Dylan Mulvaney is not someone that any smart company would ever use in association with their product again, because look at the risk they run. And thank goodness at least that worked out. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.